Get you some breaking news and in a Fox Sports News exclusive. As we mentioned, Pat Cummins has taken the first steps on his road to recovery as he hopes to play some part during this Ashes series. Dealing with that back complaint. Let's get more now with our reporter, Jim Callanan. Jim, hello to you. What do we know of what happened this morning?
Yeah, Lukey, it's the first real steps for Pat Cummins, who, as you mentioned at the top of the bulletin there, has bowled his first deliveries now on this road to recovery today. He was bowling at New South Wales Cricket Central. That is the Blues training base in Sydney's west under some rather cloudy skies. But this is a sight that all cricket fans have been waiting to see. Our camera caught these pictures of the Test skipper going through some pretty light run-throughs under the watchful eye of some key New South Wales staff before they then went inside as light rain continued to fall. And as you can see, yes, it's pretty tentative steps for the paceman, who is bowling for the first time since the Tour of the Caribbean. Now, that was way back in mid-July of this year. And as we know, since then, Pat has been dealing with lower lumbar back stress, something he had to deal with right back at the start of his career as a teenager. That kept him out of the game for 4 years back then. But since then, it's been an ever so durable Australian paceman in Pat Cummins. He's played 70 of the last 78 tests, but we definitely know he's missing the first Ashes test. There is a question mark over his return, but these are the very first shots on this road to recovery that many Australian fans hope, and Pat Cummins himself, will lead to maybe a return in Brisbane for that second test that starts December 4, if not maybe Adelaide December 15. So the very first bowling steps, yes, ever so tentative of the Australian Test captain, Pat Cummins, there at Cricket Central, New South Wales' training base in Sydney there this morning. It seems that it is still going to be a long way off before he hits full pace. But good signs, he's back, he's bowling. Let's hope it won't be too far away after, say, maybe a full week build-up of bowling at good pace, that he will be then featuring once again and resuming his place in the Test side for the Ashes.
I tell you who won't be wanting to see those exclusive shots this morning is England. As they tune in from their impending arrival in Australia ahead of the Ashes. So you mentioned there, he basically said he needed 4 weeks, right? So December 4, that puts us inside that window. Where do you think Cricket Australia's head's at with Pat Cummins at the moment in terms of when to unleash him during this series, and whether circumstance in the series, if after the first test, will alter and shape their thinking along the way?
I think you've made a great point. It could largely fit on where the series fits. If it's 2-0, Australia are flying, series looks in the bag, do not rush. Your most potent weapon, your Test captain, who still has a couple of really good years ahead of him. There is no point rushing him back. If the series is very much on the line and there is a chance your captain and your leading spearhead can play a role in that series, then yes, that will, I would imagine, will factor in their decision of when he returns. But it does come down to Pat's both short and long-term fitness, given he is so important as a figurehead, as a captain, both on and off the field, all that he's brought to the team in his leadership. As you know, in the background, though, Scott Boland, a ready-made replacement. That's all but been confirmed. He'll be there in Perth. Steve Smith will deputise once again as captain. They've never lost since he's filled in when Pat's been away, those rare times he has been away. And some of those have been for personal reasons, not for injury, mind you, as well. So they don't lose much in either leadership or in terms of the fast bowling. But you really don't want to be going too many tests into this series without Pat Cummins. So good signs that at least he is back. He is bowling. We'd like to see those paces and those loads increase, but this is very early days, very tentative steps on this long road to recovery for Pat Cummins, but good signs that this is day one, in effect, of him trying to get back to full pace as a bowler.
Obviously, you mentioned that he's been ruled out of the first test. What do we know about his involvement around the group still and how much influence he might have on this Australian side?
Certainly will travel with the team to Perth and certainly will have some input, but you don't want to get in the way of the man who's deputising yourself in Steve Smith. So I'm sure they'll work collaboratively, but Steve Smith has his own ways. By his own words, early this week on Fox Sports News, he said, I have a different approach. Doesn't mean it's even better or any different to Pat Cummins in terms of the results. It's just he likes to captain his way, and that is the way that Steve Smith will employ it. But it's under the leadership of the coach in McDonald, Andrew McDonald as well. So I don't think things are going to change too much, but Pat Cummins will certainly be with the team. He'll be bowling in training in the nets. Andrew McDonald said yesterday that you'll probably see him bowling in the nets and wonder why he didn't play in the first test. But it's all about bowling to those loads, being able to bowl 20 overs potentially in an innings, or even perhaps on a day if it really was necessarily. So we're a long way off that yet. But 4 weeks of increased bowling loads for Pat Cummins, and I'm sure, hopeful that we will see him, if not the second test, then the third.
And we're about 3 weeks out from the first test, just over. And Test Cricket Daily, of course, will return, so we'll have you covered every day. You'll be in the chair again. But you can see here, we questioned before we heard from Andrew McDonald the other day, live on Fox Sports News, the Australian coach, as to why you would make the call now. Why not just play with England's heads? It's such a great mind game card. But you can see here, this is why they needed to make the call now, because clearly there was no chance it was going to come out sooner rather than later.
Well, I think it just settles the dust. Everyone can compare and know that there's not going to be a talking point now for the next 3.5 weeks. Pat Cummins is definitely out of the first test. Steve Smith is definitely the captain, and Scott Boland is all but there, let's say, for any late changes because of injury. So you've got a settled lineup to a degree. The bigger questions still remain on the top order. So it just removes one of the distractions. They're able to move on, really focus on those that are available and are fighting for spots. I think it just makes everyone able to focus on the job at hand. But these are good signs, but yes, as we can all see, very tentative steps on Pat Cummins' return to bowling full-time for Australia at some point in this Ashes series.